We are here today with Renae. Renae is a former FSC surrogate as well as an egg donor. And I'm super excited to get to talk to you, Renae, and hear about your journeys with egg donation and surrogacy. I don't get many people to talk to that have done both. So I'm excited to hear about your journey and just to see how you went through both of those journeys. So if we could, let's go ahead and get started kind of hearing about your egg donation journey and how that went. Why did you first become an egg donor?
Mm-hmm. So, hi. So I kind of just really always wanted to help someone have children. I had a daughter of my own when I first became an egg donor. And I really just couldn't imagine not having children. So I just really wanted to help if I could. So that was kind of what prompted me to do the first one. And then I believe I did a total of 3. It's been a few years. So I think I did 3 total. And I mean, same thing. It was a fairly easy process. It was great to meet the people that I was helping. And it was just a really great experience.
Were all 3 open egg donations?
If I remember correctly, yes.
So let's switch gears and go into your surrogacy journey.
So surrogacy was a little bit different. I did always, yes, after I was an egg donor, yes, I had that feeling that, yes, I wanted to do something more, but it was almost more than that. I went through a divorce and I have 2 kids, and I just really felt this strong sense of like, I don't know where I would be without my children. So it was so much stronger after that I really wanted to help do whatever I could to help someone else have a family. So that's where it stemmed from. And it was just, I mean, it kind of just blossomed and it was just easy. And I couldn't be happier with the choice that I made. And the family that I matched with, the dad was just amazing. And I got to meet his family. And they are from overseas, so the language barrier was a little bit of a struggle, but we really worked through that and didn't have too much difficulty. But it was just an overwhelming feeling of wanting to help and seeing the look on his face just all throughout the journey. Like everything was so exciting to him, and it just made it all so amazing.
Well, good. So you said they're up from overseas. So how did Family Source help you navigate the language barrier as well as the distance?
So you guys actually have, I believe, an interpreter. So I needed Spanish. So she was amazing. She helped him. His sister spoke English pretty well. So if she was involved, we could kind of do it between ourselves. But like as far as, the contracts and all that kind of thing, she was amazingly helpful to both of us, but especially him. He said more than once, like how she just made him feel so comfortable, and it was just so much easier.
Just thinking that your intended parents were overseas, when did they come in for the birth? And was that difficult for them to be able to fly over?
Mm-hmm. So thank goodness we did this pre-COVID, so it was a little bit less challenging. Sure. They ended up, I believe they came in a week before because they knew that getting the birth certificate was going to be a little bit of a process. So they planned on staying about a month afterwards. So I think in total they came in maybe a week and a half early before the birth. I was a planned C-section, so it was a little bit easier for them. And then I think they stayed a month after.
Good. How did the C-section go? Is that because you had C-sections before? Is that why it was planned?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So my daughter and my son were both C-sections. So this was kind of like a no-brainer. My doctor just really was like, I think this is the way to go. I agreed with her. And it went pretty flawlessly. I mean, it's a C-section, so it's still a little bit difficult. But yeah, I mean, it was fine. I wish that I could have had both 2 people in the room. That was kind of my only thing that I really struggled with, is I wanted my support person just in case something went wrong. Nothing went wrong, but they had to give my spinal a little bit higher up because I have an extra curvature in my back. So I did kind of feel like I was panicking because I felt like I couldn't breathe. So I was happy that I had my support person. I wish that the hospital policy would have allowed me to have 2, but I completely understood that.
Yes.
That was the role, but that was probably the only thing that was, kind of bummed me out a little.
Yes. Whenever you decided to do surrogacy, how did your family and your children take it?
So there were my like select little circle that knew before I ever did the transfer, like right when I was in the beginning phases of the process, like they knew that that's what I was doing. They were all on board, super supportive. And then I kind of I waited to tell my kids until I was about 6 months along. There was a reason why I waited. And I feel like it was a good decision. I feel like everything went smoothly after that. But I kind of just told people like along the way. And then when it was very obvious that I was pregnant, then I made like an actual public announcement.
We all know in surrogacy, even egg donation, that money is usually not the priority in why we do it. We do it because we want to help someone else, but we do get a compensation as surrogates. So how did that compensation help you and your family?
Tremendously. Like I said, prior to this, I had been divorced. So I was kind of just rebuilding my life at the time. So it allowed me to take my kids to Disney World. I bought a house, I traded in my car that was getting a little bit older. So, it allowed me to do quite a few things that I probably would not have been able to do, or it would have taken me a lot longer to do those things.
Yeah.
And just gave me kind of that sense of comfort. It was really an amazing mixture because I was helping somebody. So I felt good about how I was getting the money. So it wasn't, it was just a good feeling all the way around. And I was doing good things for my family. And I really just could not have asked for a better opportunity.
What advice would you give to a first-time surrogate?
My biggest piece of advice is definitely trust the process. You can, read about it, you can research it, you can kind of, get all your questions answered, but until you're in it, there are things that are going to come up that you maybe didn't expect, and just trust the process and trust that the outcome is going to be as amazing as you imagined it to be. So don't get hung up on little hiccups along the way, because I promise at the end, you're not even going to remember those things. Don't get discouraged about things that you might have, a vision that you might have had how things were going to go, and then things change a little bit. Sometimes that's for the better. So don't worry too much about those things.
Yeah. Did you have any preconceived notions before you got into it?
I don't know that it was a preconceived notion, but I thought things would go faster, even though like everyone does tell you that, like it's a hurry up and wait. Like you're like, oh no, mine's going to go like smoother and faster. And then you kind of get, and you're like, oh man, here's what they were talking about. And you just have to be patient, and the ending is so worth any wait that you have to do. And it goes the way it's supposed to go, I feel like.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Did you have any hiccups along the way?
Yes. So I actually had to have, I think I had a colposcopy before. So I can't remember exactly what happened. But I had like a growth or something that they needed to biopsy that they didn't pick up until I actually went for my physical exam. And so I had to go in and have that done, and then everything was fine, and it just kind of delayed us for maybe 2-3 months. So I didn't expect that at all. It was never anything that I had ever heard about in the past, so it was kind of a surprise that anything was going on. And I honestly for a minute thought that might be the end, because he could have totally gone with someone else and bypassed that waiting period, but he chose not to. He chose to hang with me and do it, and we did, and it went smoothly after that. And that was probably my only little hiccup. Yeah, and I truly do believe like it was supposed to work out the way that it did, because he had one boy embryo, and that's what he wanted, and that's what he got. And so I feel like his waiting and my waiting kind of, the end got us exactly the outcome that we were both hoping for.
Well, that is awesome. I love that so much.